So Rishi Sunak finally made his conference speech, but how is it compared to the one that I wrote for him on Monday night? What you're about to see are clips from my proposed speech on Monday and what the PM actually said on Wednesday. Take a look. The immediate challenge for the economy is to get inflation down to 3%, which is like a tax cut for everyone. Once that's been achieved, taxes will come down across the board.
I know you want tax cuts. I want them too, and we will deliver them. But the best tax cut we can give people right now is to halve inflation and ease the cost of living.
So how will I achieve these tax cuts? Two things. A government focused exclusively and aggressively on growth.
We need our economy to grow faster and for people across the country to feel the benefits of that.
Unless you're physically unable to, you will get back to work. Getting up in the morning, getting out of the house and putting a shift in has got to pay more than sitting at home receiving handouts at the taxpayer's expense.
We must end the national scandal where our benefit system declares that more than 2 million people of working age are incapable of actually doing any. That's not conservative. That's not compassionate. That must change.
The NHS is too bloated, too big, too inefficient, and employs too many diversity officers and not enough oncologists and nurses.
Our plan doubles the number of students training to be doctors and nurses, but it is also a reform plan for the NHS, with new ways of training and new roles, new ways of working, all driving up productivity.
These crossings are an economic, national security and humanitarian disaster.
Our new law will ensure that if you come here illegally, you will be detained and swiftly removed.
And I'm willing to exit the ECHR and do whatever else it takes to end this daily nightmare.
But know this, I will do whatever is necessary to stop the boats.
And I'm replacing net zero with what I'm calling smart net zero or smart zero.
So I decided to take a pragmatic, proportionate and realistic approach to reaching net zero.
Which means a long-term plan to reduce emissions, but one with 3 new red lines. Number 1, evidence-based science, so that we can have tangible proof that renewables and electric cars and windmills and all the rest of it are actually going to make a difference. Number 2, we will have the economy at the forefront, so we don't bankrupt ourselves or clobber hard-working Brits with crippling extra costs. And number 3, the will of the people, so that each and every one of you are aware of the costs, aware of the sacrifices needed, and support the plan.
But when I looked at the reality of what people were being asked to do, the thousands of pounds people would need to pay, all of that disproportionately falling on the poorest in society, by the way, and all of it not actually necessary in those time frames to meet our net zero targets, and in spite of us doing more than any other country, I concluded it simply wasn't right.
I will tackle crime, which is the new epidemic. Shoplifting, knife crime, burglaries, assault, it's getting out of hand. And I will create a culture in which people are afraid to break the law and afraid they will be caught. I will let police again.
In too many parts of our permanent state, virtue signalling has replaced common sense. As Suella has said, there is no such thing as a minor crime. If the police tolerate crime and antisocial behaviour in any form, we'll have more crime of all sorts. So that's why we now have record numbers of police officers. And every crime should be investigated. Our streets will be safer, our communities more secure. No one should be afraid to walk home alone at night.
It's not acceptable for civil servants to be brainwashed into ideas like critical race theory, which divides our communities and goes against the wise words of Martin Luther King, who aspired to a colour-blind society.
The people of North Yorkshire were not interested in my colour, but my character. Never let anyone tell you that this is a racist country. It is not. My story is a British story. A story about how a family can go from arriving here with little to Downing Street in 3 generations.
It's not acceptable for the NHS to refer to women as birthing humans, cis females or chest feeders. I'll make sure that the public sector embraces the fundamental facts of human biology.
Patients should know when hospitals are talking about men or women.
I will restore what it is to be a woman and protect it in law. And let me put this on record. 0 women have penises, not even the butch ones.
And we shouldn't get bullied into believing that people can be any sex they want to be. They can't. A man is a man and a woman is a woman.
I will be Britain's first anti-woke Prime Minister.
That's just common sense.
And there you have it. I couldn't have put it better myself.